taxes or user fees, do you have any specific individual or corporate tax changes you would favor that would change rates, exclusions, or credits? We'll start this round with Mr. Levine.
Yeah, I also support making the tax code more progressive. Like Craig's right, the idea that if you make $1 million, you make $18,000, you're paying the same marginal income tax rate, it doesn't make any sense. I also think there are a number of taxes, and I admit some of these are hard. I would like to raise the tobacco tax. Now that is something that is difficult in Virginia to do, and yet to me that's an easy one. To discourage people from a habit that is dangerous to their health and certainly costs Virginia and the country a lot of money. To bring that in, I would also be willing to raise the gas tax. We need more transportation money. We have the new bill, the HB 2313, that allows Northern Virginia Transportation Authority to keep that money here, but we have needs here. And you know, I know that Alexandria, for example, has to borrow a lot of money to fund the new metro system, so the new Potomac Yards Metro. So we do need more money. We do need more taxes. I do support those user fees. I would also be willing to raise the Virginia estate tax for, again, those very few people who die, who are millionaires and billionaires and leave substantial estates behind. There are places to get money. I admit some of these may be hard to get past Republicans, but some of these user fees, things like tobacco taxes, things like those, I think we can get through.
I actually, so there's some ways we're all going to agree about some things, and progressive taxation. Virginia tobacco tax is lower than anyone on the East Coast, not actually a surprise, but one of the bills, one of the ways to pre-K that Delegate Krupika suggested was, in fact, to increase the tobacco tax to be consistent with the other 19 states on the East Coast. That's a way to do it. The other thing I think we need to look at are the tax benefits we give corporations. There's a coal tax benefit that we could easily cut and use, in fact, not just for secondary education in particular, but for coal areas to help students go to secondary education. I did a study in West Virginia, I apologize, but I don't think it's different here in coal areas. Most people are very concerned about the fact that they've lost income due to changes in the rules of strip mining, for example. A bill that passed when I was in high school is still an issue. And they haven't figured out how to grow the economy in these areas. And if we could change the tax system and the tax benefits and invest that in the communities where folks are working, we all benefit by having workers who are better trained and able to support the workforce as well. Thank you.
Mr. Tom.
I think that the tax code speaks to the priorities that we have as within our government. And leveraging my background in energy and the environment, I wanted to just speak briefly to taxation in that particular area. As Julie alluded to, there have been historical tax breaks that have been given out to the fossil industry over time. And you know, a lot of champions of that industry, you know, always call people out for picking winners and losers, but you know, coal is a big winner in this state and has been historically. What I would like to do is to promote more incentives for energy efficiency and renewable energy development. And when we look at, you know, our regulatory and tax landscape here in Virginia, we don't have a lot of types of incentives that, you know, other states have. And if elected, you know, the General Assembly, you know, I definitely want that to be a big priority, because when we talk about taxation, whether it's increasing or decreasing them, I mean, that's obviously a sensitive, you know, issue for all Virginians. And if there are ways that we can easily save money to taxpayers and to people's pocketbooks, I think that's worth exploring.
Thank you. Mr. Piper.
Well, obviously I covered the income tax earlier, and I particularly agree with Delegate Krupika's efforts to shift the subsidy for coal companies to the low-income students who live in coal areas. So those are definitely two areas that I agree with. But I want to touch on something that hasn't really been discussed, which is that Virginia makes it very difficult for localities, for cities, counties, and towns to have any flexibility in the way they raise revenue. And so as a result, we have a significant over-reliance on the real estate tax at the local level. And this means that all homeowners are treated pretty much the same, even though there are very different abilities to pay and very different types of homes. It also makes it difficult to provide incentives to different kinds of businesses. So if we want to attract a certain kind of great job or a certain kind of great employer, we don't have a lot of flexibility to do that at the local level. So this isn't a matter of raising taxes, as are some of the other approaches, but a matter of changing the different ways that we can apply local taxes or being innovative about different areas of local taxation. I think that Virginia benefits from having a uniform system of taxation that is attractive and easy to understand, but we've gone a little bit too far in tying the hands of our cities, counties, and towns to make the decisions that are right for the people who live there and for the businesses that are there.
Mr. Ellsworth.
I have to agree a little bit with Mr. Pfeiffer. We do need holistic tax reform within the state, but many of the other candidates up here talked about raising taxes. Frankly, don't you think we've paid enough taxes? I think we need to look at how we spend our money and reprioritize how our spending is allocated across the state to determine what we really need to bring in. Yes, schools is important and something that we should be spending money on. The coal tax is antiquated and really is addressing an industry that does not need that money any longer and can be used towards many other things. The tobacco tax, if we do raise the tobacco tax, where we are foregoing $1.5 billion of potential revenue a year, we can also address a significant organized and violent crime problem in other parts of the East Coast. But I'm not necessarily for raising taxes for the sake of raising taxes. I think we need to truly look at how we spend that money and reprioritize before we determine how to jigger with our tax system.
I could ask a follow-up question.